Hello and welcome to Udaiti Dialogues on Women and Economic Growth, a forum where we explore insights at the intersection of women, work, and growth through conversations with leaders from the industry, government, and civil society to better understand what inclusive economic growth looks like as India progresses towards becoming Viksit Bharat. Over the last few episodes, we've had leaders from a variety of industries: Shireen Bhan from media, G.V. Prasad from Dr. Reddy's, Meena Ganesh, founder of Portia and serial entrepreneur. Today's leader comes from an industry that powers everything, but stays out of the spotlight. I'm talking about energy. It's being reshaped in real time with shift to solar, wind, and non-fossil fuels and major geopolitical conflict. And in the middle of that disruption, new segments and entirely new jobs are being created. Jobs that simply didn't exist 10 years ago. And one thing I have learned in the last few years of thinking deeply about the complex issue of women's participation in the workforce is that industry is more willing and ready to partner in removing demand-side constraints to women's hiring, retention, and advancement in the workforce when the sector, the industry, the company is growing. It is no surprise that today women are a small fraction of the power sector's workforce. For decades, the sector has been seen as too technical, too physical, too field-heavy for women. Night shifts, substations, shop floors, these were spaces where women were simply not expected to be. I wonder, as this sector innovates and grows, what can we do to dismantle the structural barriers that have by and large kept women out of the workforce in this sector? Joining me today is someone who needs no introduction. Dr. Praveer Sinha is the CEO and Managing Director of Tata Power, one of India's oldest and largest integrated power companies. He has spent nearly 4 decades in the power sector. He led one of India's most celebrated discom turnarounds at Tata Power Delhi Distribution. And today he's leading Tata Power's transformation into a clean energy company. But let me tell you what really brought this conversation about. A few months ago, Praveer joined us at an Udaiti gathering in Mumbai. And in a room full of leaders where it was his turn to speak, he did not talk about capacity additions or transmission lines. He talked about women, the women running his solar manufacturing lines in Tirunelveli, the women testing meters in Odisha, the thousands of women in communities across Mumbai, Delhi, and Odisha who are Tata Power's ambassadors on the ground. He spoke about them with a specificity and a pride that I don't think anyone can fake. And I'm so thrilled that we will today be talking about what we can do to expand that level of participation of women in the energy sector and formal workforce at scale. Praveer, a very warm welcome to Udaiti Dialogue.
Thank you, Pooja. Such a pleasure to be here. And I look forward to having a very interesting discussion with you.
Thank you, Praveer. Let's dive right in. You have spent close to 40 years in the power sector, a sector that almost for all of its time has largely been male-dominated, with barely any women either in the room or on the shop floor. You have worked in distribution, in generation, on the ground, in some of Delhi's toughest localities. But somewhere along that journey, women's participation became a priority for you. Was there a moment, a particular experience that convinced you that women's participation actually mattered?
Absolutely right. I always believed that we need women in the workforce. And the nature of our job is it's 24/7, it's 365 days. You need to always ensure that the supply of power takes place. You have large number of consumers, and many a times the consumers can be difficult to handle. They can get very, very annoying, and sometimes they can get physical also. And under those circumstances, how do we bring women? And while I had been having women engineers working for me in projects and in very remote locations. They were very far and few. And when I started looking after Delhi distribution, I realized that we need to bring women into the mainstream. While we had very large number of them in HR and finance and IT, we had very few in the mainstream of operation and commercial. So I I think in one of the meetings I said that I would like to try to get some of the women to come and work in the field. And I remember it was the 8th of March in 2013, and I asked that this is International Women's Day, and can we have some hands who would be interested in carrying out the operation job. And operation is typically running the network, running the customer systems over there, and ensuring that the reliability of supply is there. And it's a very tough field job. You need to carry out work with your team, also with a lot of outsource employees who are typically all male. So two hands came up, and we did try them. We did put them. The challenge was when we put them in the offices, we didn't have women toilet because those field offices never had women working over there. It was also a task to get them accepted by the male officers, and especially people who were working for them. Many of the outsourced employees had never seen a women boss, and you have all of a sudden a women boss who is. But let me tell you, the experience was fantastic. Not only the employees accepted, but they also protected her and ensured that she is given the right respect and right treatment. Many of our customers, they started looking at her with a lot of respect. They treated her like a daughter or like a sister. And they were very, in fact, overprotective towards her. And the quality of work improved. And then, of course, that was the beginning when we started getting large number of women officers. And I can tell you that they did a fantastic job. And Delhi, we did start a process whereby we said that we will have all fresh recruitment. And we were in Delhi at that time doing about 200 odd engineers, MBAs, CAs. And we said that nearly 30% of them will be women recruitment to start with. Initial challenges in getting women from engineering colleges and diploma colleges, and also from other fields to come and work in the power sector. But I think now many of them started seeing that this is becoming, in fact, an aspirational job for them because of the type of freedom and opportunity that we are being provided. So I think we have done exceedingly well in Delhi distribution. We were something like about 10%, and it has now gone up to 17, 18%.
Wow.
And of course, in Bombay also, it has increased from initially about 7% to we are now 12% plus.
Yeah.
So I think this was, I would say, a leap of faith. It was the belief that we can get them and to come and work in the mainstream. And the results have been phenomenal. And I can give you n number of examples
Right.
of how we used to get these communication cards. We used to get them replaced every now and then because they would go bad. And we would send it to the OEM to supply us, and they would take 6 months to supply. We got some of these young girls to come and work over there, and they are so good with their hand.
Where was this?
This was in Delhi.
Okay.
And we set up a lab over there, and they came and started working. And these were just 21, 22-year-old young girls. And we found that they were able to repair this cards within few days and at a very nominal cost. And I think their skill sets were phenomenal. We had set up at that time a transformer repair factory. We got many of the women to come and work over there. Did fantastic.
Yeah.
So from the conventional, where they were just looking after the commercial aspects in metering and billing and all that, back office, most of them, they came right in the front and started working. And that, I think, gave a lot of confidence. And they were then supposedly invited. US aid used to have a program of women in power sector globally. And globally also, there were very few women who were there. For consecutive 3 years, they took two of our women leaders for the global conference in US. So I think they became some sort of hero worship, or the worship of that. This is the model that people should look at in terms of what women officers would look like in power sector, which I think is a very good start. They're role models for many freshers who join us. And I'm sure the type of leadership that they are demonstrating now, because they've been there in the system. A few of them went and became CEOs of our some of the smaller companies, subsidiary companies of one of the transmission companies. She became the CEO of that. And then, of course, we have now many who are at the CXO levels, at the CFOs or CHRO, at the subsidiary level. So this is something which I think the call of the hour is there, and we have been able to demonstrate this right by practicing.
Yes. Praveer, you talked about one of the pet peeve of mine, which is the one day when the corporate sector and different bodies will stand up and say, yes, we need to have more women in the workforce, and it's better to have more gender balanced workforces. There will be, special workshops organized, and leaders will talk about it. But I think it is harder in practice. So you talked about that one day when you kind of initiated a small experiment. But I think what would be great to peel is, how did you ensure that on the ground that's execution stayed its course? A big challenge that we see is that these gender norms are so deeply entrenched. And while a number of leaders will say it's a great thing to do, yes, we want to do it, but finally it comes down to the business case for it. What is the business case for having a more gender balanced workforce? So would love to know from you how you went about building a business case for it, convincing some of the stakeholders, right from people on the board to the plant manager, who will say, look, it's very hard to have women on the site for us, and it leads to all sorts of challenges on safety and childcare and all of that. It would be great if you can give us a peek into what were some of those challenges like, and how did you build that business case for it?
So when you bring women into the mainstream, you need to create the ecosystem. And it's very important that the leaders over there, the employees, the peers over there, they start respecting the women leader, because you cannot do a helicopter dropping of someone in a system where they have not been used to women leaders. And you need to do the hand-holding, you need to provide them the right training, whereby they provide the right respect to the women leader who is there. They provide the right work system over there to make them comfortable. It should not be in any way aggressive to them. And also you need to ensure that the whole ecosystem is made women friendly, so that they feel comfortable when they come to work. And while talking about this, I would also like to share with you that a few years back, in fact, 2022, we decided to set up a manufacturing plant in Tamil Nadu, in Tirunvalli. It's near Tuticorin. And we said that we'll have about 4,000 people working in the plant, and nearly 3,000 will be operators. And we thought that we should have women employees over there who work as operators. Fortunately, Tamil Nadu allows a night shift for women employees. And we started discussing about it. And in one of the review meetings, I mentioned to the HR team. Fortunately, I had a women CHRO in that business, and I talked to her and I said, "Can we experiment with, say," and it was just a say, 80% women as the operators over there and in the plant operating the plant. And these are all going to be state of the art plant. And she looked at me and then she said, "Let me try." Yeah, and I know it's a difficult call, but let me try. And then we went about the process. I also told her that our objective should be that we bring women from the local area. It's not that we take women from some other place, but we bring women within, say, 50 or 100-kilometer radius, so that there is a sense of pride local, as also sense of association with what they are going to do, because we don't want to transport women from, say, Odisha or West Bengal or Jharkhand to this place. They will be very, very uncomfortable because you don't have a family and you are all of a sudden transported in a place where you are struggling to communicate with people. And we then got the team actually got in touch, and she was able to connect with all the ITIs and the diploma engineering colleges and the degree engineering colleges. And today we have nearly 80% of our 3,000 operators who are women. These are all young girls. They are all fresh out of the college, 20, 21, 22-year old. And we had to train them. In fact, we carried out something like a career mela or a job mela for them. We got thousands of them to come over there. And through a process of selection, they were selected and then they were given hands-on training. Fortunately, we had a plant in Bangalore and we sent them for 6 months hands-on training, but also on life skills and all, because these are raw students coming out of, and then we also got places for them to stay, because it's important that these young girls who come from nearby places, they should have a safe place to stay, safe place to eat, safe place to play and have the recreation over there, the transport arrangements. So everything was tuned in such a way that it makes them comfortable to work. And we also found that many of them are youngsters and have a lot of emotional issues. And to cater to that, we got some of the people who can support them in terms of their psychological needs and stuff like that. And they have been, to that extent, been supported. Today, they run possibly one of the best plants in the country. Our yields and efficiencies are much better than anyone else, while one can attribute it to various reasons, including good equipment and things like that. But one has to also attribute a lot to them because of the way they have been able to operate the plant and the type of discipline and rigor that they bring, and the finesse that they bring in carrying out the job over there. These are highly sophisticated plants with robots and all that, but they have been amazing. And every milestone that they achieve, they celebrate over there, they cut a cake. And I think the whole fellowship that I see around that is good. Sometime back, I was there and there was an event, and the local IG of that region had come along with some of the other police officers. And this was actually a run that we had arranged. And all these women participated. And then the IG of police was telling me that the crime in the local area, within those areas, have come down drastically, because now every home has someone or the other working in the factory. Right. And they are getting income of it. Their general needs are being taken care, and it has brought about that sort of prosperity in those localities from where these girls are there. And the average, and they all feel now very responsible that their child is working, that the crime rate has drastically reduced. So I think uh, providing employment to women is not only about just employment to them, but also the other socio-economic benefit is phenomenal. And I strongly believe that while at that time I did say 80%, I could possibly have asked for more and gone to 90 or maybe even 100%. So sometimes these are a leap of faith. These are things that we are trying. But many of these have actually given me very good results. And that's why my belief and faith that what we have done can be repeated, can be replicated, can be tried in other places. It's only a mindset issue that we have where we feel that they may not be able to do these type of job. But let me tell you that I've tried them in various difficult tasks also, and they have all come out with flying colors. So it's a question of how much opportunity and how much of exposure that we give them, and how do we create the platform.
Right.
So providing them the opportunity.
Right. Okay, that's been the big paradox for us, is whenever we talk to some of the leaders of plants and manufacturing companies, one thing comes out consistently is that women are great with precision oriented jobs, detail orientation, the environment improves. But I guess the barriers to get more women and retain them are so high. Very few organizations and our leaders are willing to make the investment to jump through those hoops. I think there is something very remarkable that has happened in Tamil Nadu. Almost 42% of women in manufacturing in India are in Tamil Nadu today. And you have a plant there. You have a plant with 80% women there. What do you think other states can learn from that? What are some of the enabling conditions that an organization like you needs in order to be able to make that happen in a factory? And as we work with states like Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, we are trying to see, can we replicate that enabling environment through policy, through infrastructure, through participation of the industry, to unlock that kind of participation in those states that Tamil Nadu has been able to do?
So Tamil Nadu has a great initiative wherein they provide housing facilities for employees.
Yeah.
And they give you certain incentive if you create housing facility. And in some cases, they build the hostels for you. Of course, in our case, that was an enabling environment, but we ourselves went around and tied up with many of the places where there were large housing complexes. In fact, there were a number of colleges who had made hostels, but were not being utilized or were underutilized. And we went and tied up with them for 100 rooms, 500 rooms, 1,000 rooms, and use those facilities to provide. Because one of the biggest challenge for women employees is that you need to provide them proper and safe staying facility, good proper transport facility, and good proper food and other support, including recreation. So I think it's very important for people to get comfort that where their daughters are going and working are safe places. Of course, one of the challenge that will eventually come is that once they get married, then they might have to move away.
Yeah.
We also have a policy whereby we provide employment opportunity to spouses. And there are a large number of cases I can relate to you that we have many of the women employees, their husbands are also working, provided they meet the qualifying requirement and we have a vacancy. We normally have vacancy, but more important is based on, and again, this is something which is very unique in Tata Power. Many years back, I remember one of the girls came in, she gave me a card that I'm getting married, and this is when I was in Delhi many years back, and I will be moving to Bombay. And so I said, what does your husband do? And she said he's also passed out and done his engineering and works with another similar company in Bombay. So I said, why don't you ask him to move over here? I'll arrange his interview and test over here if he clears. And we tried that, and he cleared the test. And then we started the spouse policy.
Yes.
So we have the scheme whereby spouses, and especially when we have projects at remote locations, then it becomes very difficult. You have a plant in a far off place where spouses will get job, both for husband and wife.
Yeah.
And we encourage that, we provide that, and I think we have few hundreds of our employees where both husband and wife work in this company. And that's, so you need to do the hand holding. Again, one example that I'll tell you is that we had employees, women employees, who have family responsibilities, old parents, in-laws and all that. And they would always struggle that they have to go and take care of them. But it's for a certain period of time. And we came up with a policy that we can give you a sabbatical, which initially started with 6 months. Now we give it for 2 years. So any women employee or any employee needs a sabbatical for family issues or taking care. Sometimes if suppose spouse gets transferred and you move, but with a plan that you will come back, we give you that option also. So there is a sabbatical policy that we have where people can take sabbatical for 2 years with their job protected, their position protected. So I think there are a lot of things that you need to do, especially being used by the women employees because of the type of responsibility they have. Even when they have childbirth, they take a longer leave.
Right. Praveer, what is striking to me is how deep your personal commitment is to make it happen. From that 8th March day to now, what struck me during our Udaiti gathering was also this, that you knew the stories personally of some of the women that were facing challenges, and it did require some bit of kind of problem solving to say, how can we make it work, right? Otherwise, like even this example you gave where a woman employee would move, but just even to suggest that your spouse can start to work here and make that option available just changes that dynamic and improves retention. So I think that goes towards one of our big theses, that it has to be driven top down, and the senior leader has to really be committed to making that happen, right? And different leaders take different approaches to it. But at Tata Power, you have made a very bold decision to set a target for it, where you've said you want to get to 20% women overall. And it's a long, tough journey. You've already, I think, moved from 7% to 12 or 14%.
12% here, and Delhi distribution is nearly 18%.
Right.
Yeah.
Different leaders react differently to those targets. A number of companies will say, look, setting targets is actually defeating the purpose. Whereas you have decided to go down that path. Tell me a little bit about your thinking, why you decided to have a target, and what are some of the challenges of having a target, but also what are some of the advantages of having a target and then moving towards it?
So there are two parts of it. One is the numbers, where you set a target and you say that over a period of 10 years, I will have so much percentage, because all said and done, the nature of the job is such that it has to be a healthy mix of women and male officers. And there are certain nature of jobs which male has to do because of they are very remote locations, or it requires a very different sort of skill sets and issues connected with that. But if you do over a period of time with a targeted focus, and I'm not talking about just taking women in the back office jobs, but also in the frontline jobs, then it takes time. And I think we decided we also thought that there has to be a much deeper way in which we need to engage. It's not just about numbers, but also creating a bench strength at CXO levels and at senior level. So again, way back in 2013, as a part of that initiative, we also said we will help women officers to grow and aspire for higher career expectations. So two things we did. One was we saw that many a times when women go for maternity leave, they go for a longer period of time, 6 months to 9 months, or even longer. So when they go, their rating goes down because they are on leave, and compared to others, they would not have done that work. So, and sometimes it impacts 2 years because they would lose out in one financial year, as well as by the time they come back, the next financial year also, some period of time they would have lost. So it's important that we are able to protect their rating, because once they come back, they again start de novo afresh, and it takes time for them to build their performance and get into the promotion cycle. And we thought this is being a little unfair to them. We need to give them level playing field. And we said that the previous 2 years rating, whatever is there, the average of that will be frozen. So even if you go on leave for maternity, and when you come back also, for that period, if you have a certain rating, that gets frozen. So it's not that you will de novo start from zero and then try to build a rating, which is little difficult. Suppose you miss 3 months in 12 months. So to complete your task in 9 months vis-a-vis others who have 12 months or 6 months is very difficult. So that, I think, helped them to ensure that they are not under any disadvantage when they are being considered for the step change of the promotion that they have. The second thing was that we started a program of mentoring of. So every senior leader was given 6 to 8 mentees, women mentees, who were working not in their department but in some other department, so that there is a frictionless support that can be provided. And that again helped us in building a pipeline. And today, I started this again in 2013, 13 years later. I find many of them who were part of that program have now reached CXO levels in different companies.
Right.
So many of our subsidiary companies, they are at CXO level, they are at very senior positions. And I think many of them have been groomed, and in possibly next 5 to 7 years, you will have possibly a women CEO of Tata Power, a women CHROs, women CFO. So I think a lot of things are happening.
Praveer, as you're talking about it, it's very clearly a long game, and it requires patience and continuous engagement through the process, right? And a large company is often balancing kind of the quarterly results and the eye on the numbers and P&L. How do you balance the long term versus the short term and ensure that you keep an eye on the long term focus that you want to have on gender balanced workforce within Tata Power?
So fortunately, we are a large company and we have very large workforce. And my belief in number of these women employees and officers whom I have given them additional responsibilities has been very good. I have seen that they have performed very well. So their performance in quarterly result is as good as anyone else. And I find that they are very ambitious, they are very focused, and they are very disciplined. And that makes them to do as good as anyone else. So while my long-term focus is to provide them the right exposure, right platform, and the right support so that they take additional responsibilities, senior responsibility. In the short term, I also find that they are able to do it, and we do the hand-holding to them. We definitely walk that extra mile to see that they succeed. So it's not that we just leave them in a task and forget about them, but we do huge amount of support. And I think our HR and our senior managers, line managers are also very supportive of this. And I do find that the whole ecosystem in the organization has gone a huge transformation. There is a great sense of appreciation. It is not that anyone feels that they are just being put over there, but they are being put over there because of their capability and skill sets and knowledge.
Yeah.
And what they bring on the table is what actually matters. And I think they are doing exceedingly well in the way they are being positioned. So I think this is something which has now stabilized, is institutionalized. And I do hope that in the next 5 to 10 years, you will see great women leaders coming out of Tata Power.
Praveer, it's been a long journey and probably will be. Through this period, was there a moment of frustration? And can you recall a period when you thought, is this all this effort worth it? Any incidents you can recall when you just felt like it was frustrating, it was just not working?
I don't think I have felt ever about this. There has been very great experiments, very great moments that I have cherished. And I definitely feel that the way it is structured and the way it is being implemented is phenomenal. So no regrets. I have enjoyed every moment of this. And I do believe that this was one initiative that I took, which has yielded very good results, much better than what I had anticipated. So it's a very, very satisfying experience. I feel very satisfied and happy that I could do this and contribute. And I do believe that this is the beginning of many more such initiatives that will come in the company.
Right. One last question, Praveer, which is, if we zoom out now beyond Tata Power, I know you actually hold some key positions. You chair and co-chair the key CII platforms, including the National Committee on Power. So, from an ecosystem lens, what are a couple of high leverage actions that industry and the government could take to increase this participation rate, not just in the power sector, but across different sectors? Today, it stands at 18% and has been stagnant at 18% for 7 consecutive years. So, based on your experience, what are some messages for the industry and for the government that we need to do together in order to make this number go up?
So one is, of course, about the white collar job that I mentioned to you. But I think there are huge number of other people in the community who are not being targeted and are not being supported. And I'll again share an example. I used to work in Delhi, and Delhi has large number of slums. In the area that we were working, there were 223 slums, 10 lakh people were there. And typically, these are people who are migrant laborers, cycle walas, and their family, and the women over there are typically working as housemaids or are just taking care of their family. And we realized that many of them are absolutely illiterate, cannot even write their name, cannot even read number, and cannot make a mobile call because they don't know the numbers, and cannot read any bus number, cannot do anything. And we started a program which was the adult literacy program for women over there. And we set up few of them. Eventually, we ended up setting 350 of them. And every year we provide basic literacy program,
Yeah.
both in Hindi and in maths.
Is this through CSR or?
This is through CSR.
Got it.
And the purpose was that we wanted to support the local community because theft of electricity used to take place. And we thought that if we have women working with us, we'll be able to prevent the theft of electricity in slums. We started experimenting. We started using them as our brand ambassador. We started calling them ABHA, and that program became very powerful. And over a period of time, we have more than 1,000 ABHAs who are working over there. And they go to the community, prevent theft. But they also came back and told me that they want to do more. And we then trained them into various other things on billing collection. The digital payment, when it started, they were the first ones to get it adopted. And I think what it also brought about is that they started looking at their children, their homework. And so while they improved their lot, they also brought about a change in the community. So they started attending parent-teacher meeting, the type of self-respect and confidence that they got and respect from the community that they got. They came back and said that we need to do more. And then they said for our children, while they are studying in the school, they need the tutorial classes. So we set up vocational training centers, which was catering to the children in their homework and in the project work, but also providing vocational training to the women over there. So the most popular program was the beautician program, where they became they learned those skill sets and became entrepreneurs in their own way. So they came back and told us that we need more for ourselves and for our children. So we ran a 4E program over there: education, employment, employability, and entrepreneurship. And the whole purpose of the entrepreneurship was they create self-help groups.
Right.
And through that, they make various things. We, of course, do the hand-holding to them. So it's very important that we provide the right ecosystem. And for this type of ecosystem, you need the government support. Like today, we run 350 of the adult literacy programs in those 230, 223 slums. We also run over there 22 vocational training centers. And these are basically catering to women and children.
Yes.
And the whole purpose of this is that how do we make them economically independent, and also getting the respect from their family or from the community. The other thing that we find is that these women also want that their children should have a better life than what they have.
Yeah.
So they have been coming to us and saying that, why don't you provide them much better skill sets? So right now they are running few programs for training these young children.
Right.
And most of them, again, are girl children. Boys find some other task or the other. And these girl children are being trained as an electrician, as a plumber. In fact, the new program is about green energy.
Yeah.
And they are being trained how to implement or how to go and set up a rooftop solar plant.
Right.
How to do the maintenance of those things, and how to provide the overall system in terms of its running and operation of it.
Right.
So we run now many programs. In fact, we have now set up exclusively women BT centers, vocational training centers, for skill sets in solar and in skill sets relating to electrical jobs. So I think there is so much that can be done with the government, but many of these things require, again, steps which are in the right direction.
Right. Right. Steps in the right direction, and also convergence of a number of factors, right? And one of the things you talked about is the cascading impact of investing in women's literacy, women's employment, that doesn't just impact the woman, that impacts the family and the community and society at large. And research study after research study has proven that. Praveer, thank you so much for this incredibly rich conversation, for sharing not just the vision, but also the realities of execution on the ground, whether it was the creches, the appraisal protections that you talked about, the option for the spouses. And what stands out for me from the conversation is that you at Tata Power have not treated women's participation as just a program on the sideline, but it is actually a part of the business. And the fact that you can rattle out all these numbers and tell all of these personal stories is actually a testament to that. And to me, that's the real lesson of today, which is, that this energy transition, the gender transition are not two separate journeys, and the leadership has to be deeply involved. But once you get involved, despite all the challenges, the returns can be massive, both for the organization, the sector, and society at large. At Udaiti, as part of our Close the Gender Gap 30 by 30 program, we are going deep in high growth sectors where new jobs are going to be created, and working with industry leaders, associations, the larger ecosystem, and the government to increase the percentage of women in the formal economy from 18% to 30% by 2030. Incidentally, that percentage has stayed stagnant at 18% for the last 7 years. If the conversation today spurred any ideas, questions, or you would like to collaborate with us, please write to us. And to everyone listening, this conversation is only useful if it travels. Share it with your teams, peers, friends. Praveer, thank you so much. Once again, it was an incredibly rich conversation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pooja. It's great to be associated with you as well as with Udaiti.
Thank you.